Aloha mai kako. If I can get everybody to quickly, we're going to make a nice po'ai, a quick circle, and we're going to do an opening pule and our activity right off the bat. Mahalo everybody for joining us today. Before we begin, we're going to open with pule, na au makua. And in the position where we insert, we're going to put na poe aloha ʻāina. You know? Na au makua mai ka la hiki a ka lākau, mai ka hoʻokuʻi a ka hālawai. Na au makua ia kahina pua ia kahina halo, ia ka akau I ka lani. O ki ha I ka lani, o e I ka lani, nunu I ka lani, ka holo I ka lani. E ia ngā pula pula a o kou nā poe aloha ʻāina, e mālama o kou ia mākou. E ulu I ka lani, e ulu I ka honua, e ulu I ka pae ʻāina o Hawaii. E ho mai ka ike, e ho mai ka ikaika, e ho mai ke aka mai, e ho mai ka mau popono, e ho mai ka ike pāpālua, e ho mai ka mana.
Belina me ke aloha ia kako. My name is Sonoy Marfa, and I just wanted to invite you guys into this space and share a little bit about the First Nations program. And so this program was created in collaboration with Kamehameha Schools, with Nationsʻ in Aotearoa, as well as First Alaskans Institute. And the program was created to develop leaders working in their community and helping them through that process in whatever position and role that they take. This program has been in existence for a long time, and I'd like to acknowledge one of the kind of founders and great time. I'm not, and let me just disclaimer, I am the auntie of the group, or one of the aunties of the group, so that's good, right?
It's all good.
Right, because we are all elders of somebody, so we just I'd really like to welcome you folks to this space, and mahalo you folks for taking time out of your schedule.
Aloha kako. Our inoa is Papa Aloha ʻāina. Can we all say that? Papa?
Papa.
Aloha ʻāina.
Aloha ʻāina.
And this is a word we felt when we all gathered together for the very first time. We're on the Mokuo Keawe in Kona at Kalaimano and worked our way up Mauka to Kaupulehu, the beautiful ʻāina, and right below the slopes of Hualalai. And when we thought about our inoa, every one of us felt this strong urge, this connection to this inoa, aloha ʻāina, the mana'o of aloha ʻāina, the spirit behind it, the practice of it, the relevance of it to the world, and how powerful aloha ʻāina can be for everybody. Anake Pilahi Paki talks about how Hawaiians will be the ones who teach the world aloha. And to me, aloha ʻāina is a critical piece of that. Our palule, as you see, just got a little modeling over here, kawaii in the house. We have a key. The key is of the pa'apa'akai, the salt beds of Kalaimano. And we felt so connected to this place. And the pa'akai, the olelo no'eau in there. So there's an olelo no'eau in it, and it's from Anakala Eddie Ka'anana, one of my mentors, and it says kali'u o ka pa'akai. Can we all try that? Kali'u?
Kali'u
o ka pa'akai.
o ka pa'akai.
And it really talks about how everything that we need has been preserved to us by our kupuna, pa'akai. Whether that's dried fish, whether that is the ike of our ancestors preserved in the newspapers, whether that is the layout of the land, of where lo'is were, where fish ponds were, it's all preserved. Some of it is covered over. But all we gotta do is wash off the pa'akai. All we have to do is clean off all the invasives. All we have to do is unplug and plug into Olelo Hawaii to activate all of this. So we really felt a strong connection. Our papa is Papa Aloha ʻāina. Mahalo nui to all of you guys for all of your amazing work in our community, for our families, for our lahui, to uplift Hawaii ni. Mahalo and mahalo for joining us. Our first activity today is we're going to be making kaula. Can everybody say kaula?
Aloha.
So kaula, this kaula that we're making is a kaula hau. And we'll go around and you guys will have to find a pakana. Has anybody made kaula hau before or twisted hilo style? Like leilai? Anybody hilo style? Okay, so we'll try to connect with you and please help us go around and kokua mai. This will be done with a pakana. So you have your pakana, your partner, who will hold, yeah? And all you're gonna do is hilo. So we're gonna twist to the right and bring the right over the left. Which way do I twist? Twist to the right and then right over the left. Okay? Twist to the right over the left. Twist to the left? Okay. Twist to the right over the left. And you'll start to see it'll make the kaula pattern. If it doesn't make that kaula, that rope looking pattern, it's not going to come out. So we'll bring it around. So I need a new pakana. Ako, can you help me hold? Yeah. So which way do I twist? Right to the right and then right over left. Right there. Twist to the right over left. You see how it's making the kaula pattern, my kai? Come back over here. Isang kokua. Kane kabaewa. Okay, which way, Kane?
Right.
Twist to my right, and then right comes over the left. One more time.
Twist to your right over left.
Okay, starts to make the kaula pattern as we're starting to see, and I'll come right over here. So one last opportunity. You can help me out. Which way do I twist?
Twist it right.
So I'm twisting to my right. My right's coming over my left. Okay, so we're all gonna work on making a hilo style kaula. I gotta give Hilo some love, so we have some Hiloans in the house. Big Island conspiracies over there. We're gonna make Hilo style kaula, but all I want you guys to think about is putting in your aloha into what you're making. Think about all of the many teachers, mentors, leaders that you've had in your life, and weave that in as you're making. Ikino? Any questions? Okay, so we can go back to our seat. On your seat, you see the kaula, how? You guys can all start jumping in. We'll be going around to help you. Once it's complete, we'll collect it and kumu na will help us gather it all up. Hey Bruce, you got yours?
Twist to the right over left.
Just let us know. We know how to get before. Yeah, I'll come visit you either. I'll come visit you.
Purchase the
I'm better, and yeah, just letting we're just kind of putting it all together.
ʻāina yo! I've seen some amazing, beautiful kaula, good teamwork, good discussions. If we can ask just to do a little pause for the cause. And we're gonna pule e ho mai. If you're familiar with this pule, jump in. We're gonna do it e kolu manawa, just to give us the strength and the kaika that we need. And then we'll behe our next activity. E ho mai kai ke mai luna mai e o na mea una no e au o na mele e ho mai
Luna mai e, o na mea
All right, how's the food and the kaula, everyone? So we're about to transition into our fellows' presentations. And FNFP did something different this year. Rather than assigning and allowing the cohorts to choose one cohort project to fill a KS or Aloha need, they put their investment directly in us. And they provided us that critical link and opportunity and challenge to really discover how to capture our own values and how to create systemic change that our communities desperately need. In the midst of our FNFP journey, right about after Stanford maybe, we realized that the thing that cues us all together, all of our individual projects that we're working on, our values propositions, is the growth that is needed to help us on our journeys of becoming and being OEV leaders. Each one of us fellows will now share our stories, our unique stories, and what we've been up to this past year. And it is my pleasure to call Anela up to the front here to share her story.
Aloha mai kākou. My name is Anela Evans. I come from Lanai, raised there from birth, moved to Kamehameha, or Honolulu, to attend Kamehameha in 9th grade, went to UH, and then shortly after I graduated, decided that I wanted to return home. And this past year in FNFP has really been about personal growth and transformation. And I just like to shortly share a few major revelations that I've come to realize during the past year. So the first one is embracing my struggle. I've come to recognize that struggle is an impetus for personal growth. During our Ahanawa Lelepa, which is like a week-long kind of seminar where different OEV leaders and people in different positions in our communities come and talk story with us, Auntie Manu Meyer shared a quote by Paulo Freire. And that quote was that conflict is the midwife of consciousness. And I think that throughout this program and throughout my life, I've realized that nothing has more so rung true for me and my personal experiences than this quote. Not a lot of people know, and I haven't shared in public, that throughout my life, especially in high school and till this day, I struggle with anxiety and depression. It's been something that, is hereditary in my family. It's been something that I've kind of learned to control most of the time. But it's not until I decided that I need to own it, that I need to realize the weight of that pain and the sadness until I could release it, and this program has helped me to understand that and to grow, and not only to get through it, but to grow through it. Because it's the lowest of lows that catalyzes that personal, emotional, spiritual, mental growth, yeah? The next point that I'd like to make that kind of is my revelation throughout this year is that success is relative. My definition of success does not look like Kapua's definition of success, or Shailene's definition of success, or anybody in this room's definition of success. Going to Kamehameha, right? We learned the honor code, or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. But it was pounded into us that we needed to be good and industrious men and women. And every year at Founders Day, I donned my white holoku and I said that pledge. And I made that promise to be a good and industrious woman without really unpacking what that meant, yeah? In high school, I thought it meant I was gonna go to college, get my degrees, get all those credentials at the end of my name, make a hefty salary, buy my $1 million home, and you know, live my cush life, right? And it wasn't until I realized that it was my experiences in ʻāina, it was kaho'olawe, it was my hula training, and it really was getting back to lanai that is where my success lied. I don't have a lot of commas in my bank statement, but I know how to, and I can teach the keiki of lanai how to plant kalo. I can tell them the stories of their kupuna and give them inspiration. I can shoot, pack, clean, and prepare deer or any type of animal and feed my family. And that, to me, is what is successful. And if any one of my friends or any one of my ho'aloha need meat, they know who to call. And I think it was realizing that has helped me on this journey to self-acceptance and becoming a confident, compassionate, and competent young woman. And that is good and industrious. I'd also like to share that life is about making an impact and not making an income. My kane's tutu man used to say, "Mai ka ika hana ka lima, mai ka ika aya ka waha." The hands do good work, the mouth eats good food. And I don't think there's anything more powerful to our lahui than to be self-sufficient. And that, to me, is what a thriving lahui is defined as. And lastly, I like to share about kuleana and really unpacking the word, getting to the marrow, the meat of the meaning of the word. And when I looked it up, I looked up kule and I looked up ana. So kule means inactivity and ana means to measure. So essentially, kuleana means to measure inactivity. How poetic is that? How powerful is that? Steeped in kauna, yeah? Steeped in duality. So, what I came up with, my revelation was that if our inactivity is measurable, it means we are not taking care of our inherent duties. We're not honoring that responsibility that our kupuna have bestowed upon us. So for me, my work on lanai is really about that. It's really about not remaining idle, not letting our ʻāina go to the wayside. As those of us that know Hi'ile, her tutu was one of my mentor's teachers, Kumu. And my mentor always says, "O ke aloha ʻāina, ʻaʻohe ia kaumaka o lalo wale no." It's not just something that sits at the tip of our tongue. And with that, I'd like to say mahalo and pass the mic on to Kapua. Aloha.
So she kept it together. I might not. Aloha mai kako. See? My name is Kapua Lililehua Chandler. And to tell my story, the story of who I am, the story of what I've experienced in FNFP, is to tell the story of my community. It's to tell the story of the place that I come from. That is who I am. So that's what I'm gonna do. the place I come from, Haleʻa, this moku, this ʻāina in Kauai. Sometimes we just say North Shore. That would be it. But it's beautiful, it's magical, it's really hard to put into words, but when you go there, you'll know, and you'll feel it. From Mauka all the way down to Makai. When you come around that corner to Hanalei and you see all those lo'i, it's just power, it's just mana in that ʻāina. Go all the way to the end of the road and we have our ʻāina fishery down there. The abundance it's really hard to describe. But this place is this place not just because it's just not sitting there, you know. It's the people and the community that is on that land. Thanks. This is my community. This is my family. For me, when I say community, I come from the Chandler family. It's a big family. It's one of the largest on the North Shore. You can't go there and not know a Chandler. But now you all do. And this is one of our family reunion pictures, but this is my community. It's synonymous. Family is community, and my community is my family. And so when I think about Haleʻa, and I think from Mauka to Makai, and I think about the ʻāina, and I put that together with the people in the place, there's power there. There's mana there. I come from a community of fishermen. I come from a community of hunters, farmers, weavers, voyagers, paddlers. The list goes on and on and on. And I wanted to put faces to those people. This is my brother and a couple of my cousins. All their parents are siblings. I'm doing my PhD right now at UCLA, and I go back and forth, and I've been doing that my entire academic career. And when I'm able to go home and I see they all have regular jobs, and then they have their love, their passion, what they love, and this is it. And when I connect that back, when I come home and I look at what they're doing, this is what I see. This is the depth and the breadth of my community. But I try to tell my brother, you're a botanist. Kapua, what is a botanist? I tell my cousin, you're a researcher, No, I'm not. I'm not a scientist. My community's mindset is not what I see. They just say, I just want farmer. No, you're a soil scientist, you're a weatherman, you're a biologist. There's power and so much depth in our ʻāina and our people who are working there in our community. But it's sad because our system, and specifically our education system, doesn't get to this. It doesn't paint this picture of, you're a hunter, that's what this means with all these scientific terms. It doesn't do that. And that was what I wanted to do for my FNFP project, and that's what I've been working on. I want to build post-secondary education on my ʻāina. I want to get to that next level, that adult level of when our keiki graduate from high school, what's next? There's a place for them to go where they can be on the ʻāina, be who they want to be, but understand the Western connection of that depth, because right now, that's what's valued. Waipa, I love Waipa. I cannot explain in words the power of Waipa and that ahupua'a and the work that our community has done there. But this is an example of where KS made an investment in my community. And if you go there, you will see what our community has been able to do. Keiki running around, knowing what taro is, knowing what taro patch is. Cannot wait, Uncle Ata, what? We go check the trap. Maybe we get paid, we go check track. Like that in kids everywhere, It's a whole different mindset and passion and love for learning that we are not trained to think about in the classroom, inside, and indoors. It's just not there right now. And I love Waipa because it's my community that did this, Kea said, yeah, here, do them. And we did it. And for me, it's building on that success. It's going to the next level. Right now, our keiki have a place to go. From K through 12, Waipa is pumping out programs and really getting in our kids' souls. But I see my cousins, my family members, once they graduate from high school, then what? What's the next step? How do I stay here in this place? Cannot, you gotta go. You gotta go town, you gotta go off island, you gotta go mainland. So that's what I'm trying to address. That's what my FNFP experience has been about this year. It's about looking at our ʻāina, seeing the value in it, seeing that classroom, and how do we create an ʻāina university for Hāleleʻa, for our place. For FNFP, one of my biggest takeaways, the big piece that, it brought a lot of Hawaii people together, but it opened me up to an international indigenous community. Bringing Aotearoa and Alaska to me, so much has changed. My dissertation shifted. I went to Aotearoa. The hospitality there was amazing. Got one-on-one interviews just to be able to sit down and talk through what are their indigenous models of higher education look like? What are they doing? For me to learn and take and what makes sense back for my community. And FNFP gave me a platform and a network to be able to do that, to be able to make that connection. This is where I want to come back to. They're live feeding us, on Facebook. And I thought about, if my community back home on Kauai is watching this, my family is watching this, they're gonna know who these people are. They're gonna understand when I stand here and I think about my ancestors and I think about the people who have passed on behind us, how much they have instilled in me and the honor that I have to carry that kind of kuleana. I love it. I love my kuleana. We battle, but I love it, And these are the people who have come, who have laid the foundation in my family, my specific family, that my peers, my cousins right now are perpetuating. And I want to create a place that we can continue to perpetuate that. And if there's a message that I really want to take away from all that I've said, it's that I'm one person up here right now, just one. KS has invested in me, just one person, but the impact and the depth at which I'm able to trickle what has happened to me back to my community is beyond one person. It is my community, it is my family. So just thinking about how when you invest in your community and the people who come from that community, when they turn around, it might be one person that you think you're impacting, but that impact is way beyond. It is way beyond. And that is what OEV leaders are. They are one person, but they recognize that as one, they impact much, much more than just one. So mahalo. Next is Makana.
I'm trying. Crying is contagious. Go easy. Makana is gonna try to focus after that. Okay. Kalamai, if I refer to notes, but it's easy to start bringing in what I've already heard. I'm like, wow, we've discussed our things and it keeps growing, our projects, and there's so much connections, right? But so I need to focus, so I will be referring to my notes. But I am Makana Kahauleleo. I am from Kaneʻohe. I was born and raised Kaneʻohe, and pretty much my whole life I've been in the Koʻolaupoko area, from Waimanalo to Kualoa, including my adult life as an educator in that area. And I feel very fortunate for that. As a child, my friends go, oh, you're the dirty girl, right? That's our joke, oh, dirty girl. But it's because I'm always outside, from a kid, always outside. And, sometimes I'd have to climb under fences, but I was always exploring the streams. Kaneʻohe is full of them that side, at the beach, in the ocean, playing in the forest, whatever I had access to. And that's how I constructed my understanding of my world, and it was based on place. And I thrived in that environment. In school, in the formal classroom setting, it was a whole different thing. It was a struggle. It was a struggle. I just didn't get it. My memories of elementary is like, oh, I hate shoes. Why I gotta wear shoes? And as I progressed through the years in my schooling, I fell further behind. And I remember 9th grade walking into first period science and looking around, sitting down and going, oh, shoot, I'm in the stupid class. And going through all my core subjects, that's what it was. So when you take your clues in that setting, you start to see yourself in that eyes and like, oh, I'm stupid. And when you believe that, you shut doors, right? There's no college. There was no these doors. And additionally, when you don't fit in, you're not accepted, and you don't have success in this academic setting, what do you do when you're a youth, right? When you're a teenager? You look for where you're accepted, right? You look to be part of it. And it's during that time we make really bad choices. But I survived. I got through high school on time, and I graduated, and I went out in the world and was lost again because I don't know why I ended up back in offices going, okay, this is what people do. And luckily, I found myself back outside. I was called a non-formal educator, and I was in an outdoor education site. Kids came for field trips. And it was so exciting because the learning came from the kids. I mean, you know, you want to get fancy and educator talk, or scientific inquiry, and through observation. They're asking questions. They want to learn. They're driving their learning. But I only had them that one day. And then they'd go out, and I was like, we need to make school like this. Why wasn't, you know, I wanted this school. I'm going to make this school. And so as an adult, I did a lot better. I went back to school because I wanted to be a real teacher. But then where did I find myself? Back in the classroom, back in the walls. And basically in my area, what I saw were more students having the experience I had than not. And so this is where I started to learn to bring in place and culture where I can to make school, make learning, and try my best to make the curriculum relevant, right? And it was difficult in the confines of a classroom. And the school system that we have and had, especially, you know, I'm the anti-S of the group, so, you know, back then there wasn't as many programs as they have now. I just had a desire and a draw, like, I gotta do more. I cannot do it here. So I put myself back in an outdoor outdoor education place, back with the field trips, and I started to seek out ways to learn more about place and about culture and how do I help these students. And it's all students, but really this desire for Native Hawaiian students, it's in our DNA, right? When that there's connected to place. How do we build that? I said I was going to look at my notes, but I never, so I better go back. So I started to explore different ways, and when I got more of the culture and I got more of the place and those connections, I started to look at, I got introduced to leadership and team development for youth in these outdoor challenge courses, and it was a really, really cool thing. And I said, wow, you know, it's a way for kids to build self-esteem and self-efficacy, right? It's a way for them to be part of it, right? And further ground them. So I don't know if you see this theme, but I kind of like do things my own way. I was like, I was like, oh, I can do more. I'm gonna do something. And so I went whoosh, and I said I'm gonna do my own thing. And I left work and a paycheck, and I kind of like, I never flounder. I did my own thing. I ate plenty tuna and rice during that time, but I did my own thing, and it was pretty cool because what came to me was somebody asked me to take this national environmental education curriculum right up my alley, but make it relevant for Hawaii and do adaptations. And so I started doing workshops, and teachers like wanted more. They come back to the workshop. I was like, you already took this. You're already trained in this. They're like, no, I want more. And so I do workshops around and connect people to teachers to their community resources, right? And then meanwhile, I was part of being able to do a student leadership in class. And it, where I could, I brought in culture, I brought in place, because these are the students I'm serving, but it wasn't as strong as I wanted. So, I mean, I was blown away that I got accepted into FNFP, and I was seeking out a way to go the next step. And really, I was kind of needing connections. I needed ways to learn more. And so it was amazing to come and learn from my co-fellows and then find this entire huge door that opened to this network of people that came and they shared, and I got to visit sites and talk story and design this program that became my project on an ʻāina-based youth leadership program. And it's evolved and morphed into something bigger than I even could have imagined. And that's because now I oh, I know people. It's super cool. I'm like, oh, I know people, you know. I try not to drop names, but I know people, and I get to draw from these people. And even if I haven't met them, if you drop FNFP and they start talking to you, and it's beautiful. And now I have this big thing that I'm going forward with that support. And so, Kamuela, when he came and shared Kamuela Kavanam's toot, he said, shoot for the moon. So my big, fat, hairy, audacious goal is to develop leaders, Hawaiian leaders, to be at the table when decisions are made that affect us, right? Or better yet, Langoniel says, build our table to carve out our path, what serves us. But really, for those, if we don't hit the moon with everyone, where do they end up? They're dancing in the stars. What do we get? We get Hawaiian students who are proud of who they are. They know where they're from. They're standing on that. That's success. They understand kuleana, and they're acting on it, right? That's what we're gonna get. There's a basic human psychological need of belonging and acceptance, and that's where that's at. The knowledge that this place is theirs, the understanding of aloha ʻāina, and knowing how that drives them, and feeling that belonging. So I'll end you with this. Everybody's a genius. You may have heard this before, but if we judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life being stupid. And so basically I'm driven, and I'm asking you to let's stop doing that to our keiki. Mahalo. Hold on, I never cry. So I'd like to introduce Sanoy, who like me works with students and giving them hug of support. Mahalo.
So we didn't know this when we were planning the order, but Kapua is a crier and I'm a crier, so we gotta spread us out. So you guys ought to be happy we got spread out, okay? Because you probably wouldn't understand what we were trying to say. But aloha mai kako, my name is Sanoy. My name is Sanoy Kinikela Marfil, and I share my name with you because here we go. Because I stand in front of you with my ohana behind me. And I do all the things that I do because of them. They allow me the space and the place and the opportunities to be able to grow. And in my growth, I am able to share with them. And so I just want to bring them into the room so that they can be a part of this. Interesting story. This is a picture of Nanakuli. It is my home. It is my breath. But when we were told 18 years ago that we was moving to Nanakuli, I kicked and screamed and cried and was like, please, no, I don't want to move to Nanakuli. I loved living in Wahiawa. I loved my friends. I loved the place. And Lelehua was the school that I wanted to be at. And so when my parents told me that we were moving, I had asked my dad if I could just ride in with him to work at Pearl City and catch the bus up to Lelehua and get a GE. But he refused. He said, no, as the youngest child of 7 children, you will be the only Golden Hawk. And so here I am. Raise your hand if you're a Golden Hawk. Woohoo! Golden Hawks. And so this place has really brought my name out, Sanoy Kinikela Marfil, because at this place is where I was able to learn who I was. I was able to be put into situations, be given opportunities in this place of Nanakuli. Entering into the school, I was afraid. I was afraid of being, I know, sorry Facebook, but I was afraid of being bullied. I was afraid of not being able to fit in. I was afraid of all of these things. But as I entered my high school years and as I began to work in the community, all of those barriers had just peeled off, and I knew that's where I belonged. And so I made sure that when I graduated, that this place is the place that I'd go back home to. And so in my capacity of work, I work for the Institute for Native Pacific Education and Culture. And I have the privilege and honor of working with youth, with the most amazing and intelligent youth that you can find anywhere on any of the islands.
They are an inspiration to me, to the work that I do, to the things that I teach. And really, these relationships that we have together is what makes my work vai. What makes it just this huge amount of wealth. I work and teach culture-based education, place-based education in the confines of the Department of Education system. And yes, it has been difficult, but because of the relationships and the ways in which I've learned to use my leadership skills and have hard conversations and talk with people that sometimes I feel like is unapproachable, this program has helped me to come to terms with that and to be able to get Anakala. You're supposed to turn up. If we had more time, I'd tell you have to come tell a story, but we no more that much time. So I love you. So that's my life's work, is to work in my community and to really be able to provide culture-based and place-based education. However, I feel that there's really this piece missing, and that we don't, and when I say we, I'm talking from me, from my space, but we don't provide opportunities for our youth to grow in leadership. We provide kind of Band-Aid solutions and teach them a little bit about culture and a little bit about place, a little bit about mo'olelo, let's grow some kalo. But really, I would like to look at something that is holistic. And so for me, what I see that I need in my community is a holistic leadership program for youth that start at the youth level. And this experience with FNFP has really opened my mind to the potential and the possibilities. I've had conversations with principals, former principals, with youth that really all they want is an ear and some aloha, some love. And so we can give that, right? As Kanaka who teach Kiki, we can give that aloha. And so for me, my project and my ʻīʻini is to create a youth leadership program with all the pieces so that it is holistic, so that our youth will really know at a young age what OEB leadership is. Mahalo nui. And now I'd like to call up Shailene Kamaka'ala.
Aloha mai kākou. My name is Shailene Kule Kamakala, and I am from this beautiful Waiwai Ahupua'a, Kahana, and Ko'olauloa Oahu. And I'm so pleased to have my ohana, my kumu, and some of my mentors, a lot of them in this room today. Mahalo nui for coming. So I grew up, if you stretch across the beach of Kalehualoa, over the peak of Pu'uki'e and Pu'ukila, that's where I grew up in Punalu'u. And in 1992, my ohana, my parents were awarded a lease in Kahana. Counting for me, my ohana traces 5 generations back. So after 6 years of going through the permitting process, my parents had to get first aid training, CPR training to get their state parks lease, getting the mortgage for their home to build our house. That was like a 6-7 year process. I moved around the corner into the valley. I also grew up at the boat ramp. My dad would take me holo holo. Fond memories. Sometimes I would be sick and he'd be like, "Oh, just stay on the pier. I come right back." But fond memories at the boat ramp and growing up in this ahupua'a. But also memories of my community complaining about our landowner, state parks. Never having answers, and when the community would try and provide solutions to make this place to to live the culture, we were always spun in circles. It was like a vicious cycle. We'd go to someone for answers and get referred to someone else. So growing up through Kamehameha schools and through college, I began to wonder, maybe law school would provide some of those answers for my family and our community. And through my journey, I ended up at the William S. Richardson School of Law, and amazingly, like it did. And everything in life lines up so beautifully. And what did for me was, Anela shared about those words we state every Founders Day, to become good and industrious men and women. So yeah, honestly, part of my intent in going to law school was to get that real good job in downtown, make good money, and give back to my community financially. But after having my daughter in law school, Loli'i, I realized I might not be able to handle those 60-hour work weeks in downtown. And I was also, I also learned from one of my mentors who's here today, Malia Kudagawa, that the legal skills that we learn, it's needed in all of our communities around ʻāina. But a lot of lawyers, we're trained to advocate for our communities and fight in court after the mess has been made, after the damage has been done. Sometimes cannot pick up the pieces because gone already. When those EVs are destroyed, those families are hurt, and you cannot return. And so what she has taught me was that how to use our legal skills to advocate communities and prevent the damage from being done. And through that journey, I've learned so much. And after graduating from law school 3 years ago, it's been an amazing path, doing so many awesome things in our communities, working on Mo'omomi's community-based fisheries management project, working on a watershed management plan to integrate hunters and that traditional knowledge that Kapua shares about in our watershed management plans to make sure that subsistence hunting is protected. So many things that we were able to work on. But I was working 3 part-time jobs to keep me as a Native Hawaiian rights attorney close to the ground. I had to spread myself and work different part-time jobs. So it wasn't sustainable for me and for my daughter. So what FNFP has allowed me to do is really be innovative and find a way to capture my value that I have to offer to our community and to other lawyers, other planners, others in our profession that can provide these kinds of skills to our communities for them and essentially create careers for ourselves. So back to Kahana. Each family, 27 families signed 65-year leases. We're nearly halfway through. The state set up this cultural living park, and it feels like to us more like we're a museum piece, putting our culture on display. Some families may do believe that the cultural living park has been a successful thing, but majority do not. And I've realized through law school and founding our Kahana Kilokai program, all these things I can definitely talk story about later. But what I realized is that for our community, we need to be able to make resource management decisions when we want more mahi'ai to farm in our valley. But when I asked Anakala, I have people to train our ohana to be farmers. She's like, who can distribute the water? When I'm working with my dad and my uncles to better protect our fishery in Kahana Bay and make those kinds of resource management decisions, what kind of kapu are we gonna set on ourselves and our community? We need konahiki. And what I've realized is, working with Mo'omomi and Uncle Mac Poi Poi, he's a retired firefighter. So I began to look out I was looking at my brothers like, who can be a firefighter? You can be your konahiki. Because they have the time, right? They have the time. Because konahiki takes time. They're the ones observing our resources day in, day out. They're the one building those relationships with all of our practitioners, collecting that ike. I was like, how the heck am I gonna pay someone to do this? So that's when I brought me to this concept. For our ahupua'a, for our 27 and plus families living in this valley, for us to be able to take care of the wettest spot on Oahu, we're gonna have to build economical and environmental safe, self-sustaining community in our modern day context. How do we turn our practitioners, how do we create careers for them through that? So it's building social enterprises, bringing social enterprise to our communities. I didn't go to law school to learn how to do that. I went to law school, I learned legal skills and how to organize communities. So through FNFP, investing in me to work on my own individual project, they took a risk. I was in this program at a critical time in my career. I was working at Townsgate with Bruce Tsuchida, and I had an amazing experience there. But like most of my jobs since law school is temporary part-time. So it was coming to an end, and I had to make a decision of where to go next. And yeah, I was tempted again to get a big job, a nice paying job in downtown. But I knew deep down that if I took that job, and I would be stuck in that lifestyle. And my impact to my communities, I wouldn't be able to truly capture my value to continue to impact my community and bring the change that we need. So through FNFP and all of the resources and the mentors that I've come across, and also through law school, I founded my first company, ʻAina Group. And through ʻAina Group, our first initiative this summer is working with our kiaʻi local, our fish pond caretakers. And we're gonna look at strategic and innovative ways that we can create community-based ecotourism operations at our local, so that we can herd all the tourists that are hiking our ancient fishing trails, walking over our sacred sites in the face of Makali'i. Picture at that point where the sun is rising. We can funnel them into doing more culturally grounded, more sustainable activities in our place, in our home, while creating jobs for ourselves. And the thought is that in order for this thought, social enterprise, to just grow in our community and explode, we have to learn how to share resources, whether it's financial resources, tools, ike, time with one another, with each of our families that will be, turning their practice into their own enterprise that's economically sustainable for our ahupua'a. And in this picture is of our community doing our hukilau. And I realized that the act of us doing a hukilau, even though sometimes you don't catch any fish, this year we had a good catch. My dad was the oarman. But even though we don't catch any fish, hukilau requires many hands. And we've been doing this for the past 10 years. And I feel like now every year it gets better and better, more and more people come. And it forces us to learn how to work together again, how to share again. And by us doing these kinds of traditional practices in our place is gonna make that link for our families, learn how to share again once we have our various social enterprises together. I wanted to share a quote from Governor John Waihee. The system is not set up to handle the problems we face. We need to challenge the system. We need to train for this mindset. And through this, through building community and building relationships again, rebuilding those important values of our kupuna of sharing, It's also important. We're still living in this modern context where we still have all of those other pressures that we're feeling. Decisions are still being made in downtown Honolulu that are adverse to our communities. So this is another aspect of the work that I do and that I'm able to do through ʻŌlena Group is rooting culture, community, and natural resource health and abundance in the plans and decisions being made in Hawaii and beyond. For lack of time, I'll leave it there. And now here, at our FNFP Aha Nawalele Pa, when they gathered many different mentors and OEB leaders in our community to share with us, and what I didn't realize is really help us go through this spiritual and emotional growth that we all needed. Someone shared an invaluable quote with us that leader and leadership is not a person, it's an action. So through my experiences and working with so many amazing communities around ʻāina, and I've realized and was inspired about to really share the message of what Konehiki is and create the space to discuss this in our communities, because sometimes in Kahana, some families see it as it's a person of power, and we're focused on the noun. But like action, we want to focus on the verb, and what does that mean? Konehiki, to invite willingness. So one of ʻŌlena Group's first initiatives is I collaborated with different amazing community partners, and we're launching our first art show to share some of these stories tomorrow at Aupuni Place, the Old Namea. So this kuleana and this privilege that we have to do the work that I do and that we do, it's really, I can only do it because of the path that my kupuna have led me on and set forth before me. And I'm dedicated, I know that we're all dedicated to continue that for our keiki and our future generations. Mahalo. And for our last presenter, I'm honored to call upon Laiana.
Good job. E ulu tinio te atu ai. Ulu kane me kanalo ai. Ulu ohi alau koa me ka ye. A he mai anoho I kou kuahu. E ia ka waila. He vai he ola. E ola no e. Aloha kākou. I am the lone kane of all of these amazing wahine. As Anakala Kava'a put it, I am the rose amongst the thorns. I really want to mahalo all of my fellows. To me, the value of this program was in the fellowship and the people that we got to connect to and learn from throughout this entire experience has been amazing. I want to just share my project and my mo'olelo through 4 olelo no eao and the mo'olelo that I connect to it for this purpose. The first olelo no eao is o ke kahua mamua mahope ke kukulu. We hear this one a lot, and it means a lot to everybody in their own unique ways. But it really is true for me. I was very blessed to have been built upon a solid kahua of ike from my kupuna, from my makua, from my ohana, from my kumu, from my hoa, and from my colleagues, to set a kahua pa'a of really being passionate about our lahui, of being aloha ʻāina, of being pa'a in ʻōlelo Hawaii. I was so lucky to go to Punana Leo in the very early years, the guinea pig years of the program, and go from Punana to Waiau to Ke Kulakaya Punio Anuenue, where I graduated, and on to the university. I have been blessed to have that kahua set and made pa'a, not always by my choice, but by the choice of my makua and kupuna before me. I stand here today blessed to have had that kahua to stand upon and build upon. But what I wanted to share about was having the ability to build on a kahua is the most important thing. If we can help set solid kahuas in our communities, then our kiki can build whatever they want to build on top. I opened my ha'iolelo with the oli eulu to bring forth growth and life. It talks about Kane and Kanaloa, the two akua who are most responsible for ava. It talks about the plants that symbolize them and symbolize the other akua, like Ohi'a Laukoa, which symbolizes ku, and Ie that symbolizes lono. The akua reside in us in our own ways. There are personalities, there are ano, there are practice, there are how we apply things. But the key at the end is an offering of vai. Vai is the most important resource to our kupuna. Eia ka vai la. Our word for rich or wealthy is vai vai. The laws and rules that we're governed by is kanoe. Ha vai'i. Vai anai. All of these words with vai, our kupuna were very clear in understanding the value of vai. Vai is one of the critical resources of survival. I would love to, whenever I had students, we talk about this concept of the value of money and vai. And I would tell them, imagine you're in the desert and you're walking. You don't have any ai. It's vela loa. Can you pull out a $100 bill, eat it and survive? A'ole. Can you grab your diamonds, pop them in like Skittles, eat them and survive? A'ole. Can you take a gold bracelet, chew on that and survive? A'ole. But if I had vai, and my omole vai, could I drink that and survive? Our kupuna knew real clear what was vai vai. When I came into this program, I wanted to be exposed to opportunities to shift my paradigm. I used to only think that culture was the only way, language was the only way. I never thought about the vai of utilizing kala to uplift our people. To me, it's a tough subject for people to talk about money. We connect it with evil. We connect it with all of these other pieces. Somehow to be rich, you have to step over people to get rich. I really don't believe that after coming to this program and being exposed to the many leaders who talked about different forms of success, different forms of vai. This program has really helped me evolve from a culture-based leader to really start thinking about being a culture-based entrepreneurial leader. So o ke kahua mamua mahope ke kupu. My second olelo no'eau that I'd like to share is from Anakala Eri Ka'anana, and it's on our palule. It's Kali'u o ka pa'akai. All the ike that we need has been preserved through us by our kupuna in many ways. Pa'akai key among them. But there's so much kauna to how things have been preserved. Our nupepa are an example of preserving this wealth of knowledge. I call it acres of diamonds. Gold mine. The nupepa has so much ike and richness. Our olelo no'eau, if you unpack just one or two, it can change the way you see the world. What my kuleana here at Kamehameha schools is to really plant seeds of aloha ʻāina. We like to kanu I kahuli. And if our haumana here can think aloha ʻāina, in my opinion, they're going to become the strongest leaders that we need for our community. Kids who are thinking about what is the aloha ʻāina? What is ʻāina? To me, ʻāina is not just the land. It is all that feeds us. It is our ohana who have fed us. It is our kumu who feed us ike and knowledge. It is the schools that have nurtured us. those are ʻāina to me too. We need to help set a kahua of aloha ʻāina for our haumana. I want to help to redefine what is successful for Kanaka. To me, success is really the progressive realization of a worthy goal, whatever that might be. If your goal is to restore the lahui, as it is for me, then you have to progress towards that. If your goal is to learn your language of your kupuna, every progression is a success to me. And when I think about it like that, then I feel like we have so much success as a lahui. I want to stand upon this as a strong point for our people. We are successful if we're setting goals and making progression towards that. That to me is wisdom that was preserved by kupuna that applies to today. My third olelo no eo. Nā vai ho'i ka ole o ke aka mai. He ala nui maa I ka hele ia e o umau makua. I love this olelo no eo. It was shared by Kamehameha e lua in response to his teacher teaching him that the world was round. He laughs. He's like, what? Nā vai ho'i ka ole o ke aka mai. He ala nui maa ka hele ia e o umau makua. Why should I not know that the world is round? My kupuna have been navigating this world for thousands of years. We know the world is round. We know how to navigate. The reason I bring this point up is the knowledge that we have that is in our DNA is one of the richest resources that I believe Kanaka have. To all of our lahui out there, we come from some of the most brilliant people in the entire world, bar none. Remember that it's within our DNA. And so when I think about that as a huge resource, our ancestral DNA. The second most powerful resource is our minds. The ability for us to create and shift the paradigms of what we see and feel and know is good. I needed to shift my perspective because I used to be one who said money is evil. Money is not my ka'i. But yet, I use money to buy my clothes. I use money to fix my car and fill the gas. I don't think anybody here does not use money. So why don't I huli my perspective and see money as another resource? And if our kupuna were really good at valuing vai and resources and managing those, maximizing returns, why can I not be good at doing that with kala? So this program has led me to look into creating an ava-based business around the drink that we shared today, a drink of our kupuna, the beverage that was served at almost every religious ceremony to honor the gods. It was had at every meeting to ignite good conversations amongst the leaders who would drink the ava. It was also for the Kanaka who worked hard in the mala, in the kai, and their muscles, their makala was sore. You would inu your ava. This program has allowed me to really dive into the possibilities of creating a business around Hawaiian ava. Again, shifting my paradigms, utilizing something I'm passionate about, and finding ways to not step on anybody to make money, but to create opportunities for community to gather around a traditional beverage, an opportunity for more people to be exposed to the kinolau or the body forms of our akua. I have been blessed that ava has taken me around the world. Ava even brought my wife and I closer together. We worked at the Hawaiian Ava bar, Hale Noa. She happened to work on the same night as me. There's no such thing as chance. It's kupuna plans. Fell in love with that amazing wahine. She took me to Kaho'olawe. I fell in love with that island. Stayed at the lo'i. Ava, this is the life. Now here in my role at Kamehameha schools, I've been blessed to be with amazing mentors like Kumu Ke'ala, who is in here, Anakala Randy Fong, even Anakala Neo, and many others who are in this room and not in this room. But they gave me the opportunity to travel the world to share ava with the hokule'a, its crew, and the community. I'm so blessed that ava has taken me this far. To me, in my mana'o, the akuas are utilizing me to be a vessel for other people to take in the ava that Kane Kanul in Hawaii. So my last olelo no e au, e lawe kia o a malama a e oi mau kana awao. We need to take the knowledge that we gain, the skills, the resources, the ike, and apply it. And continue to grow and learn. To all of my kanaka out there who are watching this, never, ever, ever stop learning. As soon as you think you reach the top, you ain't even close. We have to keep going. We have to push. When I felt like culture and language was enough for me, that's when I feel like I'll lose. But when I look at culture and language as the kahua to build upon, there's so much more to learn and gain. And so the mana'o that I want to kind of ho'omau and that this program has really allowed me to do was to shift your paradigm. I don't want people to just be beneficiaries of Pauahi. That's the easy part. Let's become contributors. Let's use our amazing minds, our na'au, our ancestral wisdom, and our mana to uplift our people. Use the skills that each of us have and be the best you that you can be. Don't be the best somebody else you can be. Because we each have amazing skills and ability. If we tap into that gold mine up here, we tap into that ancestral mana in here, and remember that behind us is thousands of kupuna ready to get our back. We can become unstoppable. We can lift up our lahui. E ola ka lahui Hawaii. E ola. Mahalo nui to everybody who's first sharing your time. Time is so valuable, and you guys shared it with us to hear our individual projects. I'm going to bring up Anela now to share our group project. I'm happy that my ohana made it just in time. They got to catch the tail end. It's my makua kane and my brother Kama, who's a hamana at Kamehameha. So we got to plant huli with him too, bro. But I'm going to bring up Anela to share. We all had our own individual projects, but we needed a collective project, and Anela will introduce this project for us. Mahalo.
Aloha again. Like Laiana said, we had the opportunity and the blessing this past year to work on our individual value propositions, is what essentially they were. But we needed something we were charged with the task to create something that would kui us all together, yeah? And I think it was Kalea that shared last night that, or Uncle Neo maybe, that every other papa, every other cohort, vilid their lei and had a backing. They were given a backing, yeah, a piece of banana, of mai'a or hao or something that was their foundation for viling their lei, yeah? And you can still make a lei without a backing, but it might not pass the swing test. So we came together and brainstormed ideas on how we would tie all of our projects together, how we would solidify our relationships to each other and make that connection. And we came up with this booklet of quotes called Oive Inspired, and it's our brainchild, and it really was a struggle. But throughout this program, we had the opportunity to learn from many, many community leaders and people at the forefront of change, of innovation. And so we've come together as a papa, Aloha ʻāina, as a cohort, and compiled this booklet of those quotes that we think are the most impactful. And we're sharing it with you folks today as a take-home, as a takeaway. And we also created an Instagram account that we will be curating more quotes and more what we call gems for the future to provide inspiration to OEV, Kanaka OEV, yeah. Because essentially, what this is about, what FNFP, what all of our work is about, what being a Kanaka OEV is about, is our relationships. Our relationships to our ʻāina, to each other, and to our lahui. So with that, we wanted to bring all of the people that spoke to us into this room today and have you folks take that home with you. So mahalo nui.
All right, aloha. We're not pow yet. We have a few minutes, and exploring this, leaders ask questions. They ask themselves questions. They ask their constituent questions. We want to open this up to see if any of you have questions for any of us that you'd like to ask right now. Oh, and if not, what I want to do is pose a question to you from us. Can anyone here share? What do you feel? What do you think is an OEV leader?
You guys.
Oh. Thank you. Can anyone else speak to that?
What are some elements, what are some characteristics, or what are the things you think about that word, OEV leader? The mana'o.
Anake ku he mana'o.
Actually, the very first word that came totally out of the blue was le'a le'a. That's kind of funky, but it really is, about our people who enjoy being together, doing things together. And if we don't bring that le'a le'a into our leadership, it's boring, and we don't have many followers, especially not followers that like you. So I think even though it's a really off-the-wall thing, compared to other kind of words, there is, I think, as a Hawaiian, that the distinction there about it being an OEV leader is that concept of bringing le'a le'a into the mix of leadership, which is not a really normal Western concept, that you would think about first.
Anyone else? Okay.
Hey.
Mai nā pūpuna mai o ka mea nui o ia ka hokipa ina mali ini. Aka, kahi mana o ea e, o kela mea waiwai nui loa no kako o i kānaka. Kela hokipa, ka hokipa o ka ohana. He aka mea nui loko o kela hokipa o ia no ke aloha. Ke aloha ma ka le'a le'a, ke aloha ma ka hana, ke aloha ma ka pa'akiki, ke aloha ma ka lana kila. No leila, o ia kahi manao, wai ho i mua o kākou.
I too have words to share. E kia koe au ko I ko kai hana ko le no ku vai ko I hara. When I listen to the sounds of your voices and the words that you have chosen to string your stories together, not only am I happy, but our ancestors are happy as well. The ability to articulate brings joy to all of us. The ability to articulate, and in so articulated, it so defines your thinking process. And the thinking process not only comes from you, but you also credited your ancestors as well in so doing it. The mark of leadership is to be courageous, as you all talked about. And in times of putting yourself first, to find the courage to bring others before you, your ancestors, to place them before you, and then you second. Knowing that brings joy. But you also coupled throughout your talk by way of Olelo no Iau. Oftentimes we quote other people's work. In this one here, we quoted our ancestors. And you laid everything that you talked about from a cultural perspective called Olelo no Iau. that speaks a lot about who you are and your family, and also those who have made it possible for you folks to come and take your place. There's no question that the mark of leadership, and in the words that I said earlier in my presentation, leaders are good talkers. Yeah. It wasn't an easy turn for you folks today, but you demonstrated that well. You demonstrated well. You chose your words well. You put it together, not only poetically, but you also strung it together like ladies.
One of the thoughts, number one, mahalo for sharing today. That was fantabulous. I think what is really important for the whole idea of leadership is the journey that each one of you have to travel through. Your description of the path from the beginning to the end is a reflection of your growth, which you wouldn't have gotten to, because I could see from each one of you that you were, even when you think you had a journey and a path that you were walking, you found yourself in these gap moments of being off path and really not understanding why. And this past year, I can see clearly from each one of your presentations how you found yourself. And as was mentioned earlier, part of that finding really comes from your own introspective look and taking the time to actually be introspective about it and having the courage, understanding that the courage comes from behind you and not just in you but behind you as well. It's really put you folks in that leadership position. So we have great expectations of each of you. Great expectations, because just from what you presented, if this is what you get to in a year, I can't wait to see you guys in 20 years. You guys are going to be awesome. I'll be pretty old, but you guys
So sitting here today, I was reminded of something, and something really important, I think. So Kapua and I lived together for a long time. And listening to her talk today reminded me of the impact we have as people. And she was just one of my kids on the corner, and I gave her detention and laid in bed with her and just talked story a lot of time. And what I realized is I knew Kapua had all my kids, all my girls, all had the ability to do great things. But to see Kapua today reminded me that I still don't dream big enough. For what? I never dreamt she would be here. And it's probably because I know her so well and I knew her at a totally different time. And seeing her today reminded me that the impact we have and the growth that we have and the dreams we should have for any, especially our youth, right? As we touch them, in whatever way we touch them, is tremendous. Yeah, and so we should dream bigger than we even think dreaming big is. Shoot for, I don't know, not anything, just keep shooting though. and work really hard. So it's so exciting to watch young leaders and just knowing, mostly, especially because I know Kapua, and knowing how grounded she is, and that I know she knows when she talks about community, and especially when it comes to Kauai, that it is the heart of so much of how she moves forward and how she lives her life, and it's just super exciting. Super excited and proud of everything I heard today. It makes me excited for a lot of the work that I still have to do. So, mahalo, I've heard so much. It's such a good feeling to walk out of something and then learn about something.
Mahalo for sharing your vulnerability with us today and your many stories of learning. This experience that you've had and what you're going to be taking away with you could only have happened if because of FNFP and because of the experiences that Kamehameha schools through NEO, through BJ, and all the work that they've done, not only for you, but for the generations of classes before you. So my question to you is, how are you going to pay it forward, right? That's my question to all the FNFP classes before you, is you have the kahua, as ʻāina said. Now how are you going to pay it forward? That's what I'd like to see. That's my challenge to you. Mahalo for sharing today.
Thank you.
I just understand very inspired by all of you. Took like 10 pages of notes. I think of you as Kamone, you sit up on the shoulders of your makua and kupuna, and you see a vista that is greater than our own. And I'm just so hopeful, and I feel very blessed to be in your presence and to know you guys to continue to do impressive and inspiring things. And what I love about all of you is you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for all of us and for our keiki and who are not yet born. And I just ask Keapua to bless you all in the journey ahead. We are all very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you for having this conversation with us. We want to continue it, and we'll have the opportunity to, but we want to honor time. So we're gonna close up with the.
Yeah, if we can shift the paradigms of everybody by kui'iluna kako, and let's circle up. I want to bring up my colleague Kumula Ao Singh, an amazing poa and co-worker of mine who. Any of you guys are interested in Hana no Eo Hawaii, this kanaka Aloha ʻāina exemplifies the Hana of our kupuna is mai ao. If we can just stop, pai lima for. We realize as OEB leaders, we cannot do everything by ourselves. That is just foolish to think. But it really takes a network of people. And Kumula'au stepped in and kako'od in healing and braiding, not just hilo, but he healed every single kaula that you guys added into this. This now becomes our aha. Our aha is the kaula, and if we think about an aha in the context of our kupuna, like in aha kiole for Moloka'i, for example, and my kumu'ula John Kaimikawa would share that every single strand of the aha was a unique skill and perspective that somebody in the community brought forth. You had the best mahi'ai, the best lawai'a, the best kuhi pu'one, the best kahuna la'au lapa'au, the best of everybody who would form the aha. And the aha would be the council that would govern the moku. Let us continue to build the leaders in our kaiaulu so that they can become the aha for their family, for their place. This completed aha, I'm going to pass it around one time. And I want you guys to hold it and think about your leaders in your kupuna and just give it one last blast of that mana into here. And that's the way that everybody, even if you weren't able to add or put your kaula in, you can still add your mana through this. So I'm going to send it this way. Think about your kupuna. Think about the teachers and mentors that we've had. Think about the opportunities when we learned and we failed, but the knowledge that was there to gain. Think about the vaivai of kaula in traditional Hawaii. Nothing was completed without kaula. If we wanted to make a va'a, we could not carve the va'a without lashing together our ko'i. You needed kaula. If we wanted to sail from Tahiti to Hawaii, we could not sail without lashing together the pieces of the va'a, the pe'a, the kuamo'o, everything lashed with kaula. Kaula was the most important thing, one of the most important things to our people. So as it's going around, think about how this kaula, with your added mana, will continue to inspire and grow Oiwi leaders. Because if you can touch one of us, and you can support one of us, then it is our kuleana now to reach out to 1,000 plus and amplify that, just like all of you have done in many ways. So think about that as the kaula is coming around. I'm going to pass it to each of my brothers if they want to share as we're going, as it's coming around.
So I just want to mahalo each and every one of you for being here today, for sharing in this really powerful opportunity that we have to put mana into something that we will carry. And I thank you folks for giving us this space and time, and for really challenging us to go forward and to do something from what we've learned at FNFP. And so mahalo nui.
Yeah. I too want to say mahalo to everyone. And it was amazing, because in this conversation where we switched it back to you all, I learned a whole bunch of stuff, and I started thinking about a whole bunch of stuff, and it's exciting, and thank you, and I look forward to continuing conversation.
Mahalo nui me ka palena ole. Mahalo ke akua, mahalo na kupuna. Mahalo kako takahia pa.
I wanted to mahalo our papa, Aloha ʻāina, for creating this space for us today, for Kamehameha Schools creating this space for us today. And it was a beautiful display of how we could share the things we've learned and share our culture with everyone who came today, and especially with my ohana. And I recognize that not all of these things that we did today were comfortable for them, or some of these things were new for them. But I think looking now, and knowing that made me want to comfort them. But in preparing for my presentation, and now seeing them, I feel really blessed and really thankful, because now I see that they're very comfortable and happy, and it makes me feel really good.
Mahalo to all of you, but to specifically is Billy. It's another holiday in the house. So having someone like that in the room is grounding for me. It's mahalo for that. Because, you know, Chloe is wow. And to Miss Ofisa, she's like another mom to me. It's hard to explain it unless you're a boarder, you don't really get it. But it's like, you know, if I need something, like the same way you kind of pick up one, you're like, hey mom, do this right now for me, please. It's kind of how I feel about Miss Ofisa. I'm panicking, help me. And she's just always there. So having her in the room, you know, it's like having one of my moms. Wow. Can't stop that. But the bigger piece that I wanted to, that we had talked about as a papa, and I really want to put forth is going back to how we started today and talking about our shirt, and talking about how we came to the name of Papa Aloha ʻāina and what it means. What does Aloha ʻāina really mean? And what is that mindset? What is our kuleana? What is it? What is it? You know? And for me today, listening to we've been together a year, and every time we talk and hear each other, that inspiration and everything just comes flooding, rushing back. And from our individual stories today and how it culminated to this ending piece, I hope that we've painted for you folks a picture of that Aloha ʻāina mindset, of what that looks like, of what Aloha ʻāina minded leadership looks like, what it can do when it comes from the community that knows what's best for that community, and the power that can have. And I'd like to open it up to you folks, and I'd like to invite and challenge that if you believe in this, if this is a way of a mindset, a way of life, a mana'o that you ascribe to, we've brought our shirts in the back. Please grab one. But grab one, wearing it, and being able to know that when you put an Aloha ʻāina shirt on, a Papa Aloha ʻāina shirt on, what you feel today in this room and what you've experienced today in this room is just 6 examples of the power that holds. So please, I invite you folks, if you're ready for that, please have a grab shirt in the back. And just mahalo for coming and listening and being open to what that looks like and the power that can be.
Before it starts to get that this way, again, I want to mahalo those who have been a big part of this program. Ana Kalanio, BJ, and the many in this room who have been like the backbones, the iwi kuomo, we call them. Without the kako'o and support, programs like this cannot stand up like the backbone. If you remove that, nothing will stand. I mahalo everybody who's put mana into developing OEB leaders. I mahalo my dad who helped train me along with my mom to become a better OEB leader and to challenge the norm and to push and look deeper than the surface of a word to see the kauna in things. And the lessons that we've gained in our experience here, I'm glad we could share just a little bit of that with you guys. And we're just a small group of the many, many that are out there. To all of our lahui out there, let's come together. Let us aloha each other. Yes, we might have political differences. Yes, we might have different ideas for what's best. But let us never, ever lose that aloha for a hoa kanaka. That is our ʻāina, is our lahui. E aloha ʻāina maua mau kākou. E aloha ʻāina oia i'o. And don't let it pa'awale at makawaha. Live it, do it, teach it. And it'll amplify and amplify. And maybe one day we can stop all the eha in the world through aloha.
Hey.